Let's see. Did I fix it? May have. Now we're live now. Let's click this. All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. My Wi-Fi went down for some reason. I had to go play IT guy for a minute. So hopefully we can get back rolling. Sorry about that. Wi-Fi went down. I'm just going to say that one time. Wi-Fi went down. Okay, so I think we're back up and running. Give people a couple minutes. Anyway, I'm not sure where that actually cut off at, but, you know, basically, first time catching a live video. Thanks for joining. Basically, my stance on Creed Bratton is that he is not the Scranton Strangler. Okay, so I don't exactly know how to do this. So if my mod can message me, I don't know. We'll have to see how the door prize thing will work. I guess if you want, go ahead and leave another comment in here, saying what you think who you think the Scranton Strangler is. Okay, so Meredith Palmer. Das Zombie Productions. You've been around for a while. I appreciate you. Always commenting on stuff. Okay. Let's see. Let's get back to where I'm at. We've got significantly less people now, so that's fine. We're just gonna start talking, and if you build it, they shall come. That's what she said. Okay. Okay. I've heard the theory that it's Bob Vance. Has anybody heard that one? There are a little bit of interesting... Yeah, I'm sorry. So I do like what you just said, and I'm not sure how you say that name. João Pedro? Creed is guilty. This is worth saying. Creed is guilty of many crimes, but I don't think he's seen to be sadistic. For that, I don't think he is. So you're right with the first part for sure. If he really did get that blood splatter on him from a human, then I would say, probably sadistic. But he doesn't. I don't think there's enough reason to think he's actually the Strangler. Okay, but Bob Vance. What do we got with Bob, right? You've got the line where Phyllis says, don't make me get Bob. You have the line where she talks about going to bars and picking fights with dudes to just have Bob beat them up. Robert Schaefer, Bob Vance, did play a serial killer in a movie called Psycho Cop, or a string of movies called Psycho Cop. It's Halloween. Go stream those tonight if you haven't watched them. There's that deleted scene from season 4, maybe? No, season 3, I think, after Phyllis comes back from the honeymoon, where she talks about the, running over someone in Africa. That was rough. There was, let's see, as far as other evidence for Bob Vance, yeah, I'm back, guys. Sorry that, oh my gosh. It was like, I'm like talking, this is weird for me because I'm just talking to myself. Like I see myself here and I see myself here. So this is already strange, but like I started getting text messages saying, hey, we can't hear you anymore. You're gone. So, I don't know if I'm talking to myself or if I'm talking to you guys. It always just feels like I'm talking to myself. Anyway, yeah, so Bob Vance, Robert Schaefer did tell me there's literally no way his character was a serial killer. He was a straight-laced Marine type, is the way he said he always played him. So, I don't know. It's fun to think about. Don't think it's very reasonable. Okay, here's an interesting one, though, that I think we could talk about for quite a while. And I'm curious what direction I'm going to go with in my field guides on this character. But Robert California, the Lizard King. He is an interesting idea for the Scranton Strangler. So let's talk about Robert California for a minute, right? So you've got this guy who comes on in the search committee episode, and played by James Spader, who I actually really like. I like him a lot. Mr. Fahrenheit. I am not the Scranton Strangler. So you've got James Spader, and I love the interviews where he's just, like just talking, and then he just kind of does the stare, at the camera thing, stare at Jim. I don't know if you've ever been in a business situation like that where, like you're trying to talk with someone, but their intensity level is just at like an 8, but it's so understated, and they just kind of stare at you, waiting for you to respond. And maybe it's just me, but I am not like that. That is not my thing. And so, I have worked with people in the past, and they're high pressure. Somebody said steamroller, and just this like intensity in which they are trying to get you to a reaction from you the way that they want it. And Robert California hits that, nail on the head with his intensity. And so what is like fictitious versus what is, just that like persona he is putting on is always like, I could spend forever just talking about that stuff. But as far as the Strangler goes, like, what do we see from Robert California, who it like, that is like, oh boy, he could be the Scranton Strangler. There's honestly not a ton to me other than this idea of a second life, not the game Dwight plays, but the second life that he has, where he's like, what does he say his name is? Bob Kalamakis or something to David Wallace. He introduces himself as something completely different. But there's that. There's his response to Andy, which is a very intense, like, don't mess with me. I'm the Lizard King. Which you don't know if that's just business bravado or if, maybe he's like legit saying, yeah, it's Bob Kazamakis. Jim, would you like a sexual metaphor or a nature metaphor? Nature is sex. Let's see. I think if Robert were to commit a crime, it would be for something more grandiose than just strangling people in Scranton. Yeah, he would be strangling people somewhere exotic, like Fiji. Not Scranton. No, I agree. I think it's almost like it's funny. Like that's a really good point. Like it wouldn't be Bob. It wouldn't be, Robert California, because it is beneath him in a sense. Like if he was going to kill somebody, he would be like the people that you see in the movies and the books and all that stuff, who are like the rich people who, hunt human beings for game. Like that would be Robert California's, like homicidal tendencies, not just strangling people in the night. So to me, it's like a hard no. It's not Robert California. But we'll get some more meat here. Mose is an interesting one to me. I've seen the theory that it's Mose, and mostly because Mose is weird and in the shadows. And then I've also seen that Mose is a what is doesn't Dwight say something like when he's filming his gosh, what episode am I thinking of? He's like filming something for I'm like confusing Michael and Dwight now. Doesn't Dwight record a death message or yeah, it's when he's got the appendicitis, right? So he's leaving. Doesn't he say that doesn't doesn't he say that Mose has killed people and that he'll like kill again? Like if it's like a kind of a territory or like a what do you call it? Like a royalty situation. Where Mose might be killing off the rest of the Shroot line to secure his own position. I might be totally botching that entire phone call, but I guess there is a little like hey, could you see this weird guy who's very socially just stayed on the farm his whole life, going out into Scranton and strangling some dudes? Or I mean, it wasn't just dudes, but strangling people. Um, yeah, maybe. But I think what's more fun to talk about was probably Dwight as a suspect for the Scranton Strangler. Now, I almost feel obligated to say that I am almost like repulsed by this theory, like that it could possibly be Dwight Schrute. But, there's some evidence. Before we get into that, let me look through the chat. Now that we got some people joining. Thanks for joining, by the way. If you weren't on the last one and now you're on this one, we have a door prize for being on here. All you have to do is put the Scranton Strangler is, and then tell me who you think the Scranton Strangler is. All right, so let's see. Mose. All right, somebody said I definitely could see Robert doing the most dangerous game scenario. That's what I was trying to say. Chris Live is just, it's a mess up here. At his mansion with the winner. It would make the pool party a whole different episode if they turned that into a most dangerous game type of situation. Robert California would be the kind of people that they make the Purge movies about, like the rich people in the Purge movies. That's Robert California. All right. You're confusing Michael and Dwight. Dwight would be Michael's worst nightmare. Kill Mose before he kills you. That's what he says. Then Mose calls and says, hey, Mose. Then calls Mose and says, hey, Mose, what's up? Just wanted to give you a heads up. Yeah, that was good. Okay. So Dwight Schrute as the Scranton Strangler. What evidence do we have? Dwight's weird. I think we have that. We have Dwight is constantly in and out of his own fantasy world. I think we have that. He is like, so for example, right? So in this most recent season, I've talked. We've seen two of Dwight's plans. One was in the one's in. So we haven't talked about it yet, but Scott's Tots. We see Dwight's plan of trying to get Jim out of this co-manager position, and it's this really well articulated, really well planned out. Dwight's using like his full, salesperson ability, and he's like, executing on this plan to a T. And it is something that would work-ish. I mean, it's still weird, like that he would think that this one thing would get someone fired, but I get it. Like that's I think they didn't want to go too dark with it, so they still write something that's a little like goofy, like Jim put on his own, thing. But the other thing is that when you think about Dwight being in a fantasy world, is like his whole thing with the bagels that got. I had so many comments about how I don't like bagels, but anyway, um, Dwight Dwight brings in the bagels and he tries to get everyone to owe him a favor just so that he can say to Michael to fire. Like if Michael owed him a favor, he would say, like let's fire Jim. Anyway, bringing that up because what the extent of what Dwight thinks and is like where he's grounded in reality is always a moving target. Like in in Diversity Day, he says the thing like that's not what a hero is. A hero flies around, has capes, and kills bad guys, which is funny in a MCU world where killing bad guys is, I guess MCU's Batman doesn't kill, whatever. Like that's the what's funny to me is that Dwight's constantly like, crazy, not crazy, crazy, not crazy. I think one counter to him being the Scranton Strangler is that Dwight's sense of justice seems to be, pretty in line. I mean, he seems to understand laws. He understands what he's supposed to do, what he's not supposed to do. He loves the volunteer police department stuff, or sheriffs. So, I really don't think it could be Dwight. But so I guess other evidence for like I think the theory is that if Dwight's so able to be a salesperson in the sense of he at least understands human interactions to the point he can, plot and convince people of an idea and be able to execute on that idea and be able to go, like complete plans like that, it's within reason to think that he possibly could, go out and strangle people every now and then, maybe to take out his aggression. I think Dwight in season 6 is not so much in like a very stable place, but also he's probably more stable now than he was in season, 3 when they first broke up. Or was that, yeah, season 3. And so, I don't think there's so much that. Pro for him being the Scranton Strangler, just like Toby. He brings up the Scranton Strangler more than anybody else, I think, other than Toby. He's constantly referencing the Strangler, and it's always kind of front of mind for him. But I think again that's because his sense of justice is like there is a bad guy out there, and this isn't happening in my city. So there's not like one damning piece of evidence that Toby's the Strangler. So I'm gonna look through the Dwight would know how to strangle. To his chickens, he is the Scranton Strangler. The Scranton Strangler is Gould. That's a deep cut. No Gould. Let's see. I can believe that Robert, because he introduces himself to David Wallace as a completely different name. Yep. Toby does that same thing too, right? Gosh, what does he say his name is? Tony. He says, is your name? And Pam won't let it go. She's like, did you mess up your name? And he's like, yes, I was hoping no one would find or would realize. Okay. Only evidence I could think for Dwight is that he'd be the Strangler, or that he'd be the Strangler for no other reason than he proved that he could do it and that he could get away with it. Fahrenheit says he respects the law. Daniel says Dwight's too concerned with being the good guy and orator. Yeah, that's too big of a word for me, man. He'd only strangle if he felt he was doing good, like Dexter. Show I've never watched, guys. I know. So we would have to know if the strangled people were bad people. So he was like strangling for justice. Wanquin Loot says bagels are awesome. I don't know. I've still only had bagels that taste like bagels, guys. It's basically bread. I don't know. Delivers cream cheese to me. It can't be bad, but it's like, it's still just, it's fine. It's like, whatever. I am planning a trip to New York in hopefully at some point before the end of the year. So if I go to New York, everybody in the comments, everybody there has been like, you got to have them from New York. You got to have them from New York. So we'll hit that and Michael's favorite pizza place. All right, Dwight uses his connections at the sheriff's department to run background checks and specific people, and then he tracks them down, strangles them, and in some misguided effort or misguided form of retribution. That's an interesting theory. I do like that. That's pretty good, Ian. Like he's finding people, except he's not killing them. So, but it is like it's like a do better kind of thing. Trevor. No, I think it was. So, Mark, we talked about maybe it being Mose. So leave your idea why you think it could be Mose. No one ever mentions Meredith. I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble. Like, it's like, does Meredith have the upper body strength to strangle people? Like, I think that's where my brain would go first. Maybe I'm, not that females can't be strong, but Meredith doesn't seem to be strong. So, I don't know. So in my mind, it tends to be a man, but it doesn't have to be a man. But Meredith doesn't seem like she'd have the upper body strength to, strangle someone. And I also, when I was doing the Scranton Strangler theory or the series, when I was writing stuff out, I had to keep reminding myself we're talking about someone who is like strangling someone, not like, chokehold, thing that MMA people do. Blueberry bagels are a revelation. I don't know. They're fine. You ship Mose with Meredith? Okay. Your head is bald. It is shiny. It sure is. Every time I lift it up. Mark is the Nashua Strangler. Let's see. Toby takes out his repressed anger on random people as a strangler and pretending his victims are Michael Scott. He talks about the strangler because it's the only way he can get people to talk to him. Yep, I do agree with a lot of that. I just disagree with the part of him being the strangler. Strangler is Nate. That would be an interesting one. I think if Dwight was a vigilante, he would be the type that would kill. I kind of think you might. Jow, do you want to be on the writing team? I think we kind of vibing tonight. You're saying a lot of things that I agree with. Meredith hates people touching her neck. Is that a thing? I don't remember that at all. How about Oscar? I feel like Oscar's too grounded for the most part. Like I like Stanley. Like I wouldn't think Stanley goes out and murders people or strangles people in the middle of the night. Stanley's having wine and taking a bath after work and watching his programs on the TV. I kind of feel like Oscar's doing the same kind of thing when he goes home. I don't think he's off, secretly offing people. All right. Longquin said the Strangler is Walter Jr., who is secretly envious of Andy, who he stopped. So Walter Jr. is Josh Groban. His brothers who we're talking about. I like that. Mose is a loose cannon. Could be. Mark says Mose is a loose cannon. Could be trying to hug. Could be thinking he's doing some farm work. Surely Dwight discusses his police work with him and could misconstrue law. Okay. Got it. Part of me wants to say Andy is the Strangler, but the only real evidence is, this is Shadow Storm, but the only real evidence is that I could think of is him having an anger issue. Yeah, that's maybe strangling people and blacking out. Let's see who's next on my list. All right, next on my list. Oh, this was an interesting one. Did you guys see a while ago Andy Buckley, who plays David Wallace? Like he tweeted that it's very possible that his character was the Scranton Strangler, kind of citing. I don't think the timelines quite match up, but they kind of do. That the stranglings tend to coincide with the with Dunder Mifflin going under, and so he's taking out his aggressions on the people in the world instead of that aren't buying paper or something, and he's also maybe just losing his mind. And we do know he kind of does go downhill a little bit with the suck it thing, and the wife says like, oh, have you gone outside? Those are all things that are pointing to like depression and not pointing to serial strangler. But it is an interesting idea. I do like that one. Let's talk about Gabe, though. Gabe Lewis. Gabriel Susan Lewis. And let's break down some ideas on why it might be Gabe. Okay, so Gabe's seen, like over 200 horror movies? Is that what he says? I think that's not that impressive. I think over someone who's as old as Gabe was at that point. But yeah, like, okay, the student film thing, not the student film, the cinema of the what does he call it? Cinema of the unsettling. And I mean, when I watched that for the first time, I thought it was just a reference to The Ring, because that's kind of that same style of quick cut of disturbing images. Okay, so, I don't know. Like, that to me is by far one of the creepiest things he does when he's like filming from the back seats of the cars, and he doesn't Oscar say, "Isn't that my grandma?" Yeah, but and then he kind of has that same thing that Toby has, where he's pushed back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. He's kind of a pushover, and he's also like he goes through these kind of highs and lows. The timeline kind of works out because he's coming to Scranton. This is where it doesn't really quite work out because he's not even in Scranton. I think the delivery episode happens. I'd have to look it up, but I think delivery is almost directly before the Saber episode. I could be wrong. So it's like, Gabe comes on the scene, and then almost like the next episode or two, that's when we hear from, like about the Scranton Strangler. So, and then we know that he's like got some, I mean, he's got some anger issues. He doesn't really quite process. He needs some therapy. He doesn't really work through his anger issues. Whenever he breaks up with Aaron, he's got he's got like he tries to intimidate Andy or whatever. Walk away, B. As far as like theories about why he may be the Scranton Strangler, though, it's like those are difficult ones for me because so it's possible that I guess the theory would be that Gabe was strangling people down in Florida, Tallahassee, and maybe that was where his spree was, and then he took it to Scranton with him when he had to go up there, and maybe I don't even know why the stranglings would have started before he got there. Maybe he was just traveling to and fro a little bit. I don't know. Like someone's running some water. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Sorry about that. But I think like the most damning thing for Gabe in my mind is probably his like height and his just awkward emotions of like his inability to really process things, which could pent up stuff and, end up working itself out in the form of, not quite killing people. Which, I don't know. Now that I think of it, people are kind of programmatic, right? So, we kind of draw boxes around what we will do and what we won't do. So maybe, like, if you think about the time when Gabe knew that Pam was lying about the thing, but he wouldn't call her out on it because he's like, that's not my job. I'm not going to do that. Gabe's always kind of defined by these, like, rules that he has in his head about what he will and won't do. And, so if you think about, like, if he, like, goes out to strangle a person and, maybe he says to himself, hey, I'm going to go this far and that's it. So he never actually kills anybody. It's always just right to the edge, withdraws, gets away. I don't know. Maybe I just talked myself into something there. All right, what do we got in the comments? Gabe, every other day in Florida. Maybe he's going back and forth. Gabe says that he doesn't have the lung capacity to blow a whistle. That's true. I forgot about that. I doubt he'd have the energy to not strangle someone. I don't know. He's got the height advantage over almost everybody. He's got them gangly long arms. Ed Truck's ghost is the Scranton Strangler. Shadowstorm says, I don't think it's David Wallace, but it does make sense. It makes more sense than Toby. These are good theories, though. And, man, I wish tell me how to pronounce your name. Zhao? Is that how you say it? Am I saying it right? Zhao said, the series frequently states that Gabe has a weak body. That's a perfect answer to why the Strangler doesn't kill people, because he physically can't. Well, I don't know, man. I think... I mean, if you like, okay, so in the series, the way I wrote it, it was always the way I was writing my true crime thing was like he was surprising people, and then he was like attacking them, and then as soon as they would pass out, he would let off. That was like his MO. But even still, that is, I mean, to attack someone from the front and strangle them, you do have to be really strong. To be able to do that, and because there's a lot of ways to defend that move, so it does like, I don't know. So it's so dumb that this one little like background joke, there's just so much stuff to think about and have fun with. Yeah, it's such a good show. Let's see. Shadowstorm, they call him Skeleton Man, so unless he has the adrenaline, I doubt Gabe can strangle anything. Best Gabe quote for me is "Shut up about the sun." So he's got some anger that's weird. Yeah. I guess the one thing, I know he's weak, but like he does have that argument with him. He does yoga. That's not nothing. I've done yoga. That stuff's hard. He's got the height advantage. I don't know. Let's see. Okay. Daniel Brophy. I don't think there is a right answer. I actually think there is a right answer, but you're gonna have to wait until the end of the the Strangler series to get my answer. Let's see. After Gabe Lewis, let's talk about Michael Scott, and Michael Scott being the Scranton Strangler, which I say I don't think Michael Scott is the Scranton Strangler. Prison Mike? Maybe, but I don't think so. But evidence for Michael Scott being the Scranton Strangler is from the time of season 6 when the stranglings would have started happening. Michael's probably in one of his lowest states. Whereas like what I've even talked about on the show is that like Michael's kind of lost the two things that he takes kind of his identity in, which is hopefully having a family someday and hopefully and his being a boss. And so take those two things out, and Michael doesn't really perceive himself as anything. So maybe in this like desperate hope for control, some control in his life, he goes on this strangling spree. Doesn't kill people because he doesn't really want to hurt people. But I I don't know. That's about the best that I could come up with Michael Scott. Other than there's that one really dark line where he tells during the viewing party episode, which is the episode they bring up the Scranton Strangler, that he's got like a loaded gun in his desk, which I've always found a little odd and off tone for the character. It's a cute little throwaway line, I guess, but I don't know. Michael Scott being the problem with Michael being the Scranton Strangler is he's just simply too nice and too friendly, and really kind of does have that I wouldn't hurt a fly kind of thing. His approach to life and friends and whatever is kind of completely opposite of even Dwight, right? And his sense of like, oh, I'm gonna go kill Sprinkles because I need to put it out of its misery. I don't think Michael would ever take that approach. But yeah, I just don't think it could be Michael. And what did Ian just say? I didn't want to hit on that. Biggest reason I don't think it's Michael is because he can't keep a secret, and he's always wants to be the center of attention. So there's no way he'd keep it to himself. I think that's right. The next one I had was Jim Halpert. And basically the only thing I have for this is he's strong and tall. And, I also hear a lot of people, I see a lot of theories online that Jim is a sociopath because of the way he treats Jim. Or the way he treats Jim, because we're all our own worst enemies. No, the way he treats Dwight, that's kind of, to me, that's like going back in retrospect and adding attributes to stuff and kind of making things more malicious than what they need to seem like. But anyway, I get the point that Jim is mean to Dwight, and so he could be mean to other people. But Jim's always bored, and that's basically it. So I don't know. It's not Jim. He's on the list, but he's not Jim. And then we have George Howard Scubb, the guy who was running from the police, the guy who was caught, the guy who was tried, and the guy who was convicted, and the guy who strangled Toby in prison. I think there's a lot of damning evidence that it could be George Howard Scubb. So, we'll see. I'm gonna look through the stuff here. Let's see the comments. Could be Trevor. Oh yeah. Trevor is. Oh my gosh. Is Trevor the guy that the assassin friend or whatever that was gonna take Oscar out? Ken feels offended by that theory of Michael. It could be maybe Michael's gun is reference to Michael Scarn. It could be Scranton Strangler's Rolf, Dwight's friend. This is Dark Gatus. Dwight's friend from the company picnic episode. He's looking for a pair of shoes that would increase his speed and not leave any tracks. You know what? I never put two and two together on that one. That actually is an interesting point. And he's an odd fella and oddly aggressive. I think the top suspects are Toby, Creed, Ryan, and Wallace. Let's see if Daniel says if the theory about the office taking place in Jim's head is true, then it probably won't be him. It'll be either rivals or someone who's jealous of him. Okay. I see what you're going for there. What about the guy that is that Trevor? The guy that put the lead pipe? I think that's Trevor. I could be wrong. Let's see. Also the company picnic episode where he appears and Pam is found to be pregnant and Pam has the baby in the episode. It's true. There's a connection. Man, Rolf. I think we could have come up with something good there. For once in my life, I'm going to finish something. Explains why he never killed anyone. Oh, Mark for the win on that one. I like that. Is that Trevor, though? Somebody answer me. I think that's Trevor. Um, yeah, I like that one, Mark. That's good. So he has, for anyone else that didn't remember that off the top of their head, he has got that line whenever Angela hires him to kill Oscar. Is that right? Did I just say that? I think that's right. And then he decides like he's gonna do it anyway, and he's got that line where he's like, "For once, I'm gonna finish something," which just like I do love that kind of thing that sitcoms do, where they give you this nugget of a character where you're like, man, there's a whole lot more depth. There's like a whole iceberg there where you could see there's something more going on behind the scenes. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So that is Trevor. It was the IT guy, says Lou. Yeah. Crap. What was the IT guy's name? I feel bad now because it was the whole thing in that. I don't think it could be Ryan Howard. This is what Shadowstorm says because the dude is lazy. That's true. Yeah, I don't think it would be him. I think it would mess up his future. And at this point, he's kind of transitioning into hipster, which I have loved. I don't know about you guys, but it was funny because the day I released the shareholder meeting was, I'm pretty sure, the day that Mark Zuckerberg did the changing the name of Facebook to Meta. Is that what I don't know. But I loved that Ryan is going like through full hipster transition, and he soon basically kind of takes on this Zuckerberg-esque startup guy thing, which I do like. Let's see. I said this further up, but has anyone considered Todd Packer? He's got the strength to do it, and probably would consider strangling people, but not killing them. Some crazy practical joke. Oh, that crazy. It's just Packer. He just, sometimes asphyxiates people for fun. Could be. See, people can speculate all they want because there's different characteristics that make up the Scranton Strangler. It's true. And it's so funny because there's like barely know anything about him. I love it. Okay. Also, Packer is a traveling salesman. Would regularly be in and out of Scranton, so he could avoid suspicion. Plot twist, it's Greg Daniels, who does show up. He is in the universe. I don't know if that's his name, but he shows up in the finale. That match different characters. Let's see. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and do. I'm going to tell the mod. Let's get the door prize thing going, and let's announce that. Where's your jetpack, Zuckerberg? So real quick, if you it could be the Finger Lakes guy. Okay, so real quick, if you haven't yet, put in the chat. I think the Scranton Strangler is, and then put a name, and then that enters you into the prize. We'll give you 1 minute to do that right quick. So hit that. If you did it on the last one, I don't really know what my mod guy's gonna do here, but if you did it in the last one and you didn't do it on this one, maybe you just do it on this one to be safe. So moving backwards, our IT guys have been glasses, turban, ear hair, Fatty 3, shorts, Fatty 2, Lodgins, and Fatso. I think the Lodgins was the one who installed it. All right. Keep them coming in. Okay, so while you're doing that too, if you haven't watched that Scranton Strangler true crime thing, like I said earlier, I am super jazzed about it. That one has been kind of a love letter to the channel, love letter to The Office, love letter just to this, what I'm doing here in general. I'm jazzed about it. Even if nobody watches it, I don't even care because it's by far one of the most fun things that I've made, and I love where it's going to go. So I hope you guys are liking that. If you haven't watched it, maybe go watch it now. If I can get to it, I will have episode 2 up and running next week, towards the end of the week. But I've got Scott's Tots this week, And that's kind of a mega episode. So there's a solid chance I'm not getting to that this week. On that note, Scott's Tots coming up this Thursday, as long as everything works out well. And Scott's Tots is, man, it's going to be such a fun, that's going to be such a fun field guide. I've got a ton planned for it. It may be the longest field guide that I ever do. So we'll see. It may be the longest video other than these live streams that I have on the channel. Let me see. I'm going to tell the mod, let me know when you're ready. Okay, so the Scott's Tots, I've got the rest of the Scranton Strangler series. I've got the I've got Christmas episode, what's it called? Secret Santa right after this. So Christmas is coming early. And then I've got, let's see. I've got the Banker episode, which you don't want to skip that episode. Banker is like one of the most skipped episodes of the series. Don't skip that field guide. It's going to be good. And if you skip that field guide and then you watch the next episode, you might be a little confused about some stuff. So you might just want to watch it, just to be safe. Even if you think that episode sucks. And it kind of does. But the field guide will be good. Okay. Let's see. We have a winner for the for the door prize. That is Ben McDonald. Old McDonald, are you on the stream still? Ben McDonald. This is always awkward for me because I have to sit here and wait for 45 seconds. Yo, Ben, there he is. All right, you are the winner of the door prize. Solid. You can either email me on, the channel, or if you hop onto Discord, hit me up on the Discord. I'll get your information. And you know what? Just for fun, if people are still on here, we'll do another door prize because I have this entire box of crap to give away. So if you didn't delete everything yet, mod guy, let's do another one. How about that? So Ben, yeah, just hit me up on my Discord or email wolverinefilms@gmail.com, and we'll do that. Okay, the second winner is LJO, and I've seen LJO. They were on the stream a while ago. LJO, you still on? Let me know. Or did you drop? I know some people were on the last one. Cinema, she was on here. I think it's she. LJ was on there. Let's see. Well, I can't give out stuff to everyone, Eric. But if you want your own office box sent to you every month, follow the link in the description and you get 15% off. 15% off the the culture fly thing. LJO, are you still on? Oh, there you go. LJO, there you are. All right. Winner. All right, LJO and Ben, hit me up on email that's on my channel, wolverinefilms@gmail.com, or just on the Discord. And yeah, so I'll stay on here for another 10 minutes if you guys just want to ask questions about the channel, wanted to ask questions about Scranton Strangler, you want to do whatever you want to. Good segue to promote the office box. Thanks, it didn't feel forced at all. Links in the description. 20% off first office box. Yeah, I really do want to do more of these so I can give away more of this crap. Now I've got another one getting sent to me. But yeah, no, I'll be on for another 10 or 15 more minutes. If anybody wants to throw questions my way. If not, I'll just awkwardly sit here and stare at a chat that's not moving. All right. It's 20% off the first box. Your first, like, so if you order like 4 box, then if you order 4 boxes, like a whole year's, I think you only get 20% off the first box. So I don't really know. To be honest with you, as like just a regular rational consumer, like I don't know if I would go all in for this subscription, but that's more of because I'm kind of the cheapest person, at least in my household, and so you know I just don't really like to spend money on that kind of stuff. Most of the things that I have, I've found in garage sales and flea markets for really really cheap. Like all of my Marvel guys, they were all like 50 cents a piece at a garage sale. And then my friends gave me the Thanos glove, and most of the other stuff were like discount, whatever's. So not a whole lot of stuff there. But yeah. Now, having said that, though, the box like itself, when I get it, I'm like a little kid, and it's like Christmas. I get it open, and it's like, oh, I wonder what's all in here. So I get kind of nerded out. Okay, let's see. LJO email is it's on the channel. You can like click like the business email thing, but it's mulverinefilms@gmail.com. Okay, what we got? What is your favorite episode? I mean that's Dinner Party still at this point. I think in terms of like just creativity in an episode, Dinner Party's just awesome. Love it. I think it's great. Stress Relief might be the funniest episode. And as far as like the touchy-feely drama stuff, I either probably have the most emotional response to either like Michael's goodbye or the finale. There was actually a field guide a couple weeks ago I said I had an emotional response to. I don't remember what that even was. Oh, it was the one where it was Koi Pond, when Michael and Jim kind of have that like moment in the break room where Michael's like, "Yeah, it's okay," basically is what he's saying. And then he still razzes them, and that was good. Do you think Holly was a good match for Michael? I don't know. That's a good question, Shadow Storm. What do you think? I think she was kind of a yin to his yang, in the sense of they have a lot of similarity types, but she was definitely smarter and definitely more able to see a bigger picture, whereas Michael's always kind of in the moment, stream of conscious kind of thing. So I think they probably complemented each other pretty good. I've always wished I could have gotten Amy Ryan for the finale, so you kind of see them together. So what's your take on who is the Scranton Strangler? You're gonna have to watch the series, and then we'll do this again. Scranton Strangler series. Personally, I skipped. Fumi says I personally skip the banker episode, but I'm excited for your episode. Cool, thank you very much. I'm excited for that one. I don't think it's gonna be a long episode, because if I have like a 20-minute episode on the banker, I don't think I'm gonna get many click-throughs. But 10 to 15, I think, is what I'm gonna do. Okay, I think I've gotten emails from both Ben and LJO, so thank you. All right, Wolverine, I gotta go. Work tomorrow. Cool. Grotti did it. Maybe some Strangler business is the work of the mafia. A business school is best. Emotional touchy-feely. That one is really good. I do have a very good emotional response to that one too, because it's like it's a lot of like both Michael and Pam have a lot going on in that episode, and they have that moment. It's good. It's wholesome. And then he's got like a Snickers bar or something in his pocket. Manny said, the first video I saw of yours was the one on Mafia. Then I went back and watched all the other field guides. Awesome. Thank you. The Mafia episode. First one. All right. Dunder Mifflin is the big picture. I got that. Email. Okay, quick question. Who would win in a nerd fight to see who exasperates each other the most? Dwight or Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory? I think I like that question. I mean, I'm not a huge Big Bang Theory fan. I've watched enough of it to kind of know the character traits. In fact, my kid was just watching Young Sheldon in the room when I walked up. I walked upstairs yesterday and he was watching that, and I was like, "What is this?" Because it was the guy it was the inconceivable guy from from Princess Bride was on the TV. And he was like, "Oh, it's Young Sheldon." I was like, "Did you watch Big Bang Theory?" He was like, "No." I was like, "What are you watching this show for?" Kids are weird. Sorry if you're a kid. But anyway, gosh, the question, that's fun. I'd be honest with you. I think Dwight would, I don't know how to answer that. I feel like that's kind of like like the unmovable object meets the, you know, unrelenting force or whatever the phrase is. I don't know. It's 10 o'clock here. I'm losing my train of thought constantly. But anyway, that's a good one. I don't know. It might also be like the two AI comparison thing I did a while ago where they basically start talking nonsense after a while. I think Dwight would win, though. Moving on. If you could pick one character reacting to the entire doc, who would it be? I personally would pick Jan. Oh, that's an interesting question. I like that. Who would you pick? I don't know. Cause now that you say that, that's like if you could get like if you could get like director's commentary or like commentary over the track of the audio of the episode, and they could just be like, "Oh, this is blah blah blah." I think Creed Bratton. Like hearing what Creed had to say about all of the stuff that happened throughout the series. I mean, that might be gold. I don't know. That'd be pretty good. What's in the box, by the way? Yeah, I'll email you about what crap I've got in there. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So it'll be like the dentist office. You can just kind of pick what your favorite things are. What's most controversial office opinion? I don't know. Have I said something I'm sure I've said things like a hot take. I mean, I hope to interview her someday, so I don't think this is going to be very good, but I've never, never mind. I'm not going to say it because I still want to interview her, so never mind. I don't know. I'm going to go with that. Some actors on the series, I'm not a big fan of. I don't think that they really brought the idea of whatever I think their character was going for, or maybe, and that's all, pridefulness probably on my part, or arrogance at least, to say that I would know better, but I don't know. There's just certain actors that I thought weren't very good, but I don't know. Probably, here's a hot take. I don't think season 8 and 9 are bad. Like, I think they're different, and they definitely have some bad episodes, but I don't think they're bad. That seems to go against a lot of the stuff. Real question: what do you think the rise and fall of each of the bosses and managers? What do you think the rise and fall of each? I'm not sure I understand the question. Rise? Yeah, I don't know. PR Prince 3. What that what do I think of the rise and fall? I don't know. I feel like after they had um, Michael, Steve Carell departing, like, I do think it was a thing that they could keep playing with to keep the drama of the office stuff going um, for a little bit longer. So it makes sense that they kind of kept playing with the formula, like, like, let's have this person, let's do this, let's do that. I never really agreed with landing on Andy myself, but like early Andy as manager, he's got that moment with Daryl that I've always loved when he's like, "Look, you were hungry for it and then you stopped," because that one kind of hit me as like Andy is basically saying to Daryl the same thing my bosses have told me in the past, and it's like, oh, ouch. Okay, that felt really real for the series, and maybe Andy's going to be a good boss. That'll be cool. But you know, in general, I think, as opposed to what I just said, I do think season 8 and 9 have definitely good merits, but like, um, you know, that is kind of like the rise and fall of the manager things. I think, I don't know. It's just a whole different show once you had to get, um, once you had to get Michael out of the picture. How do you do this? I don't envy their job. Young Sheldon's kind of cute. I, I assume you meant the show. Oh, yep, that's what you said. The show is neat. I meant. Okay, good. Um, Dwight's knowledge is more practical. I really think like I I at the when they were talking about, or when they were teasing like who might be the next manager, I really thought Daryl would be a good pick for that. And in general, I like Craig Robinson, um, especially his work on like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'm a fan of. He was in the show with uh, why am I Adam Scott, called Ghosted, that lasted one season, and it was not very good, but I loved it, and it's probably the only main TV show I watched live, like the night it aired, in the last like several years. Not even live. Sorry, that was not even like, I watched it is the moment it hit Hulu. I had like a notification on my phone. Um, I can't recommend anybody go watch Ghosted. It wasn't very good, but it was kind of like an X Files if Daryl from The Office and whoever Adam Scott's character from Parks and Rec were Fox and Mulder. Um, and so I really enjoyed it. Let's see. Where else am I at? I don't even know why I started talking about that. That's what live streams do, and it's Halloween. Maddie, I always thought a funny episode would be if Dwight his cashed in his favor from Oscar back in the secret episode. Maybe Dwight would make Oscar flirt with another gay man who has something rare. I think you lost me towards the end there. I don't really know what you were going for there. I do feel like that was I I always read that episode as the favor that Dwight cashed in was watching, like, they had to watch a movie together that night. That's why he ends up in their house watching a movie. Um, Jake, you got to do what you got to do there. Hello from Kansas City. Hello from St. Louis. Um, what up? What up? Episode do you most? I don't know what that meant. Daryl would be funny enough and would be a terrible, crazy manager like Andy was a terrible, crazy manager. Yeah. I don't know. Andy's stuff just was late. Andy after the boat. It's just like he turns into this villain and then he has this quick redemption. It was just a mess. It was, it was Hank. I don't know about that. And I always did like Robert California as a manager at Dunder Mifflin. Will Ferrell to me was a gimmick. Um, I think they needed him. They needed a name, and that's what they went with. That whole search committee episode is extremely um, like meta in the sense of like they're searching for a new manager, but the creators of the show are also searching for a new manager, and so they're like throwing these like things against the wall to see what sticks. And Will Ferrell gets the job, but they tease Nelly and they tease Robert California in the sense, and then bring those characters back in the future, which is like an interesting thing that I've always like some of those moments where they're like, "Hey guys, we're gonna do the best we can, and we're gonna go from there," which I think is interesting. But I always did kind of like the energy that Robert California brought to that role of just like, it's the same thing with Idris Elba, whereas this like, you get someone vastly different from Michael Scott, not stupid, and, for the most part, unless he's like drunk or in a weird mood, just kind of by the book, let's just get work done. I'm thinking like Columbus Day episode or something where he's like, Andy wants a day, like half Friday off or something. Okay. LJO, what do you think Creed's home would look like? I'm going to be honest with you. I guess I picture Creed living in like a van down by the river kind of situation. Like he lives in a RV. Maybe like a refinished bus, like a refinished like school bus that has been turned into a tiny home, but not like a cute one, like a hippie one. Okay. Okay, so Prince is back on this one. So like, even as we have viewers, if at times we were annoyed by him towards the end, you realize everyone else fails, but Michael, as crazy as he was the catalyst for success for everyone. Yeah, that is interesting. I'm not sure the show goes in that takes that angle, but like that is interesting. I do like that, Prince. What upcoming Office episodes are you most looking forward to doing a deep dive on besides the finale? I have been waiting for Scott's Tots for a very long time now, and probably since I started the series, I have had Scott's Tots on the top of my mind, mostly because of kind of this like cringe thing that's on there, that's like so associated with the show. So I've had this like a year and a half probably of just like, oh yeah, I should talk about that for Scott's Tots. Oh yeah, I should talk about that for Scott's Tots. So that one has definitely, been on the back of my mind, and I've been really excited about it for quite a while. So past that, Banker's been on my mind, because I've got some kind of season wide stuff planned for that one. Let's see. Future episodes though. I mean, gosh, like I'm thinking the finale is going to be huge. Michael's goodbye is going to be huge. I've got some stuff planned for, season 7. And then also, I mean, I can talk about it here too right now. I'm going to start at some point, a new field guide series. And so it won't take away from the Office field guides, per se, but I will start a new field guide series, because I never really planned on this being an Office channel. As if you do look at my crap on my wall, I do have a lot of Office stuff here, but like I also have other things that I like, and so the Jen, the Scranton Stranglers, AJ, sure. But like I have other things that I want to talk about too. So I know at this point in my channel, I have like niched so hard with The Office that like I'm synonymous with it, and people call me an Office channel. And I start every Office video with, "Hey, I'm reviewing every episode of The Office," which is on purpose, and that's the right thing to do. But like, you know, so it'll be a transition, and not everybody's gonna like the other stuff I talk about, but after the Scranton Strangler series, which is why I keep calling it my love letter, that's when I'm going to start rolling out other content that's there too. Let's see. Kind of lost the chat. Let's see. Great home. Dwight should have used his favor to make Oscar confess his affair with the senator. Let's see. The Office video game is the System Shock 2 of licensed games. Okay. There's a lot to unpack on that one, David Mason, if you're still here. System Shock 2, I'm not even really... Maybe I am familiar with that game? I probably should be. Shock 2. Yeah, I am not familiar. Oh, I've seen a video on System Shock 2. But I don't really get there is an Office video game? If there is, I had no idea. Yeah, unpack that for us. Is there an Office video game? Let's see. The Office video game is the System Shock 2 of licensed game. Okay, Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's not my thing, but I do like Seinfeld, so I've always felt like I would like that show or the humor in it. I don't really have a favorite Office quote, to be honest with you. I just kind of tend to reference it constantly. Congratulations, it's a boy, Max, on turning 15. Scranton Strangler's Gabe, not sure. Could be. I actually think Robert California could have worked if they introduced him sooner in a different role. Maybe as a former Dunder Mifflin executive. Yeah, I think that'd be interesting. Creed lives down by the quarry in a van down by the river. A bud in Toronto. We ever do field guides on Parks and Rec, The Good Place, etc. So I want to, this is kind of like I have like such limited time on what I can spend time on, because I do have a full-time job, and then I have this side thing, and then we have our waffle business that we also run. And then we have a pretty packed social life too. So it's like, we're like, I'm just scraping by right now. What I did decide is that whatever I do next, there has to be like, it can't be like, oh, this is I'm going to review every episode of a series and it's going to have 200 episodes, because it's just a lot to chew on. So Parks and Rec, I do love. I think it's a great show. I'm not sure I'm going to give it the every episode field guide, but I do want to have some Parks and Rec content. And I could talk about every episode of The Good Place forever. Like, I think it's amazing. The problem is I don't think that show has that good of it doesn't have that big of an audience, in terms of like kind of a ceiling like, The Office does. So if I can do content on The Good Place, I definitely will do content on The Good Place. I just don't know how well it will do. So I'm kind of watching how that series evolves over time, since it's been off the air since 2019 now, I think. So we'll see how that goes. How do I feel about Andy's play? I've never watched that play. I have never seen that movie. I don't know, but like, I didn't even know it was maybe this is a joke. I don't know. Is that a musical, or is the joke that they turned this kind of dark thing into a musical? But anyway, the play is really cringy and it's really uncomfortable. His actual that night, the Scranton Strangler's not a murderer. Definitely something that we talked about earlier. MCU field guides. That's definitely not out of the question. My editor does not, I don't think, is a big fan of the MCU, so I might be doing those ones on my own. And then Jen asked, are you still doing field guides from season 1? So I finished season 1. And at this point, I don't have it in my plan to redo season 2. But I mean, it's not out of the question. If everything else I do fails, then, Office it is, baby. Let's just do what we do on Netflix, and just as soon as we're done with season 9, episode 23 or whatever it is, we'll just start right back over with episode 1. So we'll see. Mark, you were talking about. No, okay, no, I don't know what Mark was talking about. Mark might have left. David was the one that talked about the Office video game. I don't think he was talking about Second Life. Yeah, we need an Office RPG style game. I know, I've been just constantly coming up with ideas for different Office video games lately, and I think something like that would work. I actually I've heard that there is going to be a licensed mobile game coming out. I feel like I've seen some news here and there on that, but I don't really know anything about it. I am going to go to the Office experience not next week, but the week after, a little late. It's up there in Chicago. We're taking a train. I love trains because I can sit there and do work rather than stare at boring Illinois while I drive. Sorry if you're from Illinois. But yeah, so I'm going to go up to the Office experience. So if anybody has I'm going to interview the people that are doing it too, to kind of pick their brains on why they're putting on this experience. And I doubt they're going to say it's just for the money, but it's probably just for the money, but we'll see. I'm excited about that. You're welcome for the live stream. I guess no field guide for The Simpsons. Yeah, maybe if I did a season by season field guide for the for The Simpsons, maybe. That's still, you're talking what, 28 videos? Has it been on for that long? I don't even know anymore. And Love That Dundee, yeah. It's actually it was actually signed by Rainn Wilson, which is kind of cool. Same with the Dwight Recyclops thing, and my script of Threat Level Midnight is was also signed by Rainn Wilson there too. All that came in that BAM box I got, which, after saying I'm the cheapest person in the world, I don't even know if that's true, because I bought this BAM box that had all this signed stuff, but I was yeah, one thing I don't have is signed things from people. So I wanted to get that. Let's put that here. Someone needs to do a field guide. My wife loves the Golden Girls. Loves the Golden Girls. I do not. Not my jam. I feel like every joke is telegraphed. Just like Big Bang Theory. It's kind of everything's just here's the setup. Here's the joke. Casually dissing Illinois. Look, if you've driven through Illinois as much as I have, driving to Peoria or driving to Chicago from St. Louis is, I mean, it's okay, so I'm a 90s kid, and the best thing I can liken it to is playing, Ridge Racer on the Sega Genesis, and the landscape is just those green straight squares on the side of the road, and the only way you're going forward is because the checkers are coming this way, and you're passing the lines, and every now and then you see a building come through from the horizon. That's Illinois. There's just nothing there except it's not green. It's all yellow because it's all just one giant cornfield until you actually get to Chicago or Peoria, and I don't even want to talk about Peoria. Um, okay, so yes, casually dissing Illinois. It's not as bad as driving through Kansas. No offense to Kansas people, but Kansas is even worse because there's nothing to look. There's not even that one tree. There's at one point in Kansas, there's like 1,000 windmills things, the wind turbine things. I'm sure there's a fancy word for it, but so that's kind of cool. But that's like one thing in 7 hours. What about doing a field guide on the British office? I might do a video on the British office. But I don't think I could do a whole thing on the British office episode by episode. Mainly because the British office is like if you go back to my season 2 field guides, some of them are a lot shorter because there's not a ton of stuff to talk about, because a lot of the humor in those early episodes and also in the British office is the nuance of like the uncomfortable social situations that people are being put in, and it doesn't really lend well to my style of talking about like what I talk about, because I'd be like, so here's the joke. It's funny because he's making that person feel uncomfortable. Like it just, I don't know, but I do want to do something with The Office, the original, because I tried to watch that 4 or 5 times, and then I think when I had COVID last year, I like forced myself to watch the whole series all the way through, everything with subtitles on, because I literally didn't know what they were saying, and I really enjoyed it. It's not my cup of tea, but I did enjoy it. That was good. I can say this: if anybody has Apple TV, you should watch Ted Lasso, because that show, is so good. I have loved that show. Endgame or Infinity War? Guess it's I don't know why I can't just give a straight answer. Thanos is so good in Infinity War, and it's such an enjoyable, like, story. Endgame is got the ultimate climax. That's what she said. That is like so rewarding to all of the fans, and my general stance on all the MCU movies is that they know how to do fan service in a way that doesn't make me as a fan go, shut up. Like, get to the movie. Like, they do fan service in a way that I'm like, I see what you did there. And I'm a total fanboy, so I tend to go blind over, stuff like that. Is Stanley supposed to appear at the Office experience in Chicago? I don't think he is. That was so weird. It was like, I know people cancel out of events or no show or whatever. I hear that happens, at least. I'm not a big Comic-Con type person, but yeah, he didn't show up for that one, and that was kind of a yeah, it caused some problems, I think, there. So I didn't have anything to do with putting that event on or anything else like that. So it was like I don't know. I never heard. I guess where I was going with that is I never heard the end of what actually happened. But anyway, Endgame or Infinity War, I can't make a decision. It's really just kind of, they're just two different things. All right, LJ is out. I know we don't know anything about your life, but with all these projects that you have, like stuff, and how your boss says you dropped the ball or something along those lines, so much respect for you. Thanks. Yeah. No, it's funny. I feel like I've talked about this at some point on the show, but like, so one of the big things in like performance reviews I've gotten in the past has been you have a good idea, Chris, and you start it, and then you just drop the ball on it, and you just let it fizzle out. So there's like definitely been times where like I could sit here and be like, well, that didn't happen because of this, and this didn't happen, and I couldn't do this, but you guys don't want to hear any of that. It doesn't matter though. Like it's because of the frequency I've heard that before is one of the reasons why even when I've hit like kind of writer's block or different things with this channel, and I've been like, oh, I just need to stop, or I just want to, I just want to take a break, or I just need to whatever. I'm like, no, Chris, you're gonna finish it because you said you were gonna do it, so you're gonna finish this thing, and you're gonna do it what you said you're gonna do. So, it's all working out, and that's why I have an editor now too that helps me with the field guides, and he is great. I mean, he's kind of really naturally taken over. Keeps the same kind of vibe that I have for the field guides. A lot of people didn't like season 6 early stuff, and I felt like some of that like got blown back on the editor, but all of that was my notes. They were all like, I want to change the formula, I want to change this a little bit, I want to play with this, I want it to be a little more theatrical, I want it to be a little more whatever. And then it was consistently one of the things that was like, I was hearing a lot of feedback, and all of those things were my ideas that were bad. So, so I was like, we'll just scrap it. We'll just go back to what's working, and we'll just go with it. And so, but the editor helps out with kind of my work-life balance, and it all works out. But I appreciate the respect. Someone says I've stayed in Effingham, Illinois twice, and it was aight. Yeah, Effingham's really little. I think my cousin-in-law is from Effingham, actually. And I stayed in Effingham, or I actually drove through when I was coming back from Scranton. I stopped off in Effingham to grab some gas. Nothing since Endgame has interested me. The new Spider-Man does look does look good though. Yeah, here's the thing about Chris that I haven't even talked about on this channel. I live a no spoiler life. Like I don't watch trailers. I don't watch watch theory videos about movies that haven't come out yet. I don't watch review videos. I don't listen to reviews. If somebody around me starts talking about a movie that I'm going to go watch, I shut them off, and I try not to be a jerk, but I'm like, most of my friends that would talk about this stuff now, they just know don't talk about this stuff around Chris, because I am assuming like other people, I don't know, but I am so influenced by other people's opinions of pop culture stuff that like if somebody says, oh, the new Spider-Man, man, I watched that, it sucked and it was bad. Well, then I go into this with this like mindset of, well, what's so bad about it? Oh yeah, I guess that's bad. Or yeah, okay, well, I don't like that. Or so it like changes my entire mindset. And I want to be like, oh, I'm a functioning adult and I don't care what anybody else has to say about this movie. I'm going to have my own opinion. But I tend to find that like, that's not the way I work. And I do just get really influenced. So if I watch a trailer and I think, well, part of the problem I don't watch trailers is because I feel like they spoil everything. And I kind of I don't really have a photographic memory. I don't really know if that's even technically a thing, but like, I like, as you guys know, I like remember things extremely well when I watch things. And so I watch a trailer and I'm like, so I watch a trailer and I'm like, oh, well, this was in the trailer, so they haven't been here yet. And this guy was still here when he was there, so he's not going to die right now. So it takes a lot of the tension and the drama and what the writers were trying to do with a certain, scene. It takes it all out because I watched that trailer. Anyway, I have a video idea for this at some point, but every time I do it, it sounds like I'm preaching, and I'm not trying to preach. I'm just trying to give my take on this thing. But anyway, yeah, I don't know what the new Spider-Man looks like, but I did love the Netflix or the Disney Plus series. I don't think I disliked any of them. I thought that Bucky Winter Soldier was maybe like a little weak in terms of what they were doing. Like it maybe needed another episode or something to kind of flesh stuff out. But I thought Loki was amazing. I really enjoyed the Scarlet Witch one, and I didn't finish What If, so I guess that doesn't really count. Let's see. Has anyone considered Tony Gardner as the Scranton Strangler? Michael did push him over the edge. Oh, guys. I hate when this happens. Who's Tony Gardner? We're going to look him up because it takes Tony Gardner. I don't know what we're talking about here. Tony Gardner is an actor. Let me know what you're talking about. Stanford. I don't know. Obese guy from Stanford. Oh, okay. As a strangler. I don't think so. But I'll leave it at that. Yeah. I agree. I think he might have been too out of shape. But yeah. And so people are being nice in the comments. Thanks, guys, for all of that. And I appreciate all the nice words. Thoughts on Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man. This is like my daughter's favorite thing to debate is like who the best Spider-Man is. Like the other night we got home stupid late from something, and she's like, "Dad, sit down. We got to talk." I was like, "All right." So sit down. She's like, "Who's your favorite Spider-Man?" It was like, I was not ready for this, and mentally or emotionally, and we had like a 45-minute long conversation about who the favorite Spider-Man was and why, which really kind of turned into who the worst Spider-Man is and why. But I'll answer your question. Thoughts on Tobey Maguire Spider-Man? I actually took my girlfriend my sophomore year in high school to go watch, I think that this story is true, this is in my head at least, to go watch the Spider-Man, the first one, at a drive-in movie theater. I said this thing in a video a while ago. I've only been to a drive-in movie theater one time, and it is the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Took her to see that. She hated all superhero stuff. Great girl though. Love her. But like, we're not together anymore, obviously. This just got real. We went right off the rails here. Anyway, took her to see that. We watched Spider-Man, and like it was like, to me, that character really kind of embodied Spider-Man until Andrew Garfield came around, and I didn't like Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker, but I kind of did like his Spider-Man. And then that was fine until, Tom Holland came. And I think that he's kind of he's kind of where I'm at. Beyond that, I kind of like the Spider-Man from this PlayStation game. I think that one was awesome. I think him and Miles are really good in that series. Let's see. I feel the same way about avoiding spoilers for manga and anime. Great stream, by the way. Gotta go. See you later. Totally agree with trailers. Yeah. Field guides are dope. Thanks. Tony Gardner. Yeah. Let's see. Screaming down. Stanford Strangler. I don't think he was a strangler. I'm just gonna say Kelly Kapoor was a strangler. She could have been. Wolverine, like Wolverine, but Mulv. Yep, it's a play on my last name. Somebody one day. This is easily accessible. So I showed up at work one day, and somebody had like taken my whiteboard and they had drawn this Wolverine thing on there. Let's see, what's the right way to do that? Which I just got really tickled by. So if you've been a fan of the channel for a really long time, then you've seen this guy because I figured out how to digitize him and play with the Adobe a little bit to make him clean up and then grr. That was like old school, but that's where that nickname came from. We did talk about Scub just briefly. You know, he was something. How many Spider-Mans are there? There's so many Spider-Mans. I mean, they're all Peter Parker. They're not all Peter Parker, but a lot of them are Peter Parker. But I think they're just talking about mostly just actors that have played Spider-Man. Love her, not totally together. I mean, what I meant was like, I love her as a person. She's a good person. You know, we're not together anymore. I love my wife. I love you, baby. I don't know where you're at. I don't know if you're watching this. I think Tom is the best of both. He had the cocky attitude with the awkward energy. Got it just right. Yeah, I mean, they really kind of hit the nail on the head with Tom Holland. But my daughter's got a mad crush on him, and I just said that on stream, so I don't know if that's like cool or not cool. I don't care. I said what I said. So, you know, she's not really impartial. So yeah, there's 8 Spider-Man movies, and I thought the Into the Spider-Verse was really good too. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna sign off. This has been a lot of fun. Don't forget, Scranton Strangler series coming out. We got Scott's Tots this next week. Christmas after that. Banker after that.
I'm afraid I can't do that for you.
Whoa, Siri just freaked me out. My Siri's a dude, by the way, and it freaks me out. Sometimes when I have my AirPods in, Siri starts talking to me. Anyway, I think we're good to go. Thanks, guys, for watching, and we'll see you next time.